let's talk about what fasting and abstinence means, because as we're saying, this is what we're eating, people might be like, but I thought you're fasting. So the how we observe in the Catholic Church fasting, for those days of obligatory fasting, are you may have one small meal, right? Like nothing super elaborate or fantastic in any way, shape, or form, and then you can have two smaller meals that together do not make up one meal, right? That's what we say is fasting.
Correct.
Which is pretty. It's weak sauce. It really is. Like when we think of, I'm not gonna lie. When Matt was like in medical school, I think it was, he was eating like a little cup of yogurt in the middle of the day, on maybe it was on a Good Friday or an Ash Wednesday. I don't remember which one. But one of his attendings was Catholic, and he was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You're eating. It's whatever the day was." And Matt was like, "Well, I mean, we can have two smaller meals that don't add up to one meal." And the attending was so judgy. He was like, "Okay, I guess if you need that."
I remember hearing that story. That is so funny. And actually, I thought about that as I ate my little yogurt cup this morning. We don't want anybody passing out. We don't want anybody, but like, I'm hungry right now. I am hungry.
Yeah.
My kids' school, they said they sent out for the high school, they sent out an email to parents, and they said something to the effect of, just explaining, because there's a lot of non-Catholics at their high school, kind of explaining what Ash Wednesday's coming up, and here's what we're going to be serving. And they have a half day on Wednesdays anyway. Well, they get out at 1:15, so they kind of do a brunch instead of like lunch. And they said we're going to have some beans and tortillas for kind of a light brunch, just to kind of unite ourselves with the poor and to follow the observances of Ash Wednesday. And so last night, my middle daughter said something like, "I'm going to probably pack a lunch tomorrow." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, because they're just having like beans and tortillas." And I said, "No, sweetie, this is why." I'm like, "No, you're going to eat." And she said, "Well, I can't take a protein bar." And I said, "Well, you could have like a protein bar only, but it's not, the point is to be a little discomforted, to not just fill your bellies, you're not going to die. You're not going to shrivel up. We'll have a meal at dinner time." So anyways,
now to be technical, she's not yet 18, right? So she actually doesn't have to fast. She does have to abstain from meat after completing, I believe it is your 14th year, you are required to abstain in accordance with the church's observations, but not until you're 18, I believe, that you have to fast. So she would still be technically fine.
Technically fine. But I also, in my opinion, I feel like if there's no reason to not fast, like she's not sickly, she's not diabetic, she doesn't have insulin issues. I just think it's good training to have the small meal, beans and tortillas, an apple when you get home, and a nice piece of fish and some lentils at dinner. Like, I don't think anybody would consider that really a hardcore fast anyway.
No, absolutely not. But we do the same thing. I mean, I think every parent has the responsibility to form our children, and so we do the same thing in terms of like, once you make your first Holy Communion, you basically do what we all do, and that's just how we do the things. But do you want to talk a little bit about like so we do have days of fasting and abstinence, which again, in the Catholic Church and in the Western Church, and we should make actually that distinction. Like the Eastern Catholic churches have their own great fast and ways to observe it, but in the Western Church, we have Ash Wednesday and Good Friday as days of fasting and abstinence. But according to the updated Code of Canon Law, every Friday of the entire year is penitential, including the days of Lent, the Fridays of Lent. But on the days of the USCCB, at least, has said that on those Fridays outside of Lent, so other than the Lenten Fridays, you can do something other than abstain from meat. Like you can choose something else. But during Lent, every single Friday is a day of abstinence and penance. So while you don't necessarily have to fast during the Fridays of Lent, you do have to abstain from meat specifically.